Everybody's coming in now. Welcome. Welcome to the workshop. Give everyone a chance to show up. It's always funny. This particular system, you can't log in until the actual start time. So you're kind of sitting here as the speaker wondering if anybody's coming. We have a lot of people signed up, but it's always strange because I had a system in the past and you could see the people waiting for the workshop to start, but in this particular system, you don't see that. I'm going to just turn on my recording software and take a second so I can record this for people who can't make it. Take a moment to get that going, and we'll start in a minute. We'll have some fun today. We've got lots of good information to share, and I appreciate you coming today. And just need a minute for my other software to turn on, and then I'll be able to start the program. And then I'll also give you the link to the program as well, so you'll be able to watch the replay afterwards. Okay, there it goes. Record the screen, and should start in a second. Okay, for those who just come, I'm just turning on my recording software so I can record this for the people who can't make it, and also for you as a replay so you can use this information that I'm sharing with you today when you need it. Perfect. Okay, so everything is up and running and ready, and here we are. It's the afternoon. I want to thank you. One of the reasons why I made an afternoon webinar, I often do them at 8 o'clock at night, is I have a lot of friends now in Norway and in Denmark, and for them 8 o'clock at night's the middle of the night, so I wanted to do something where they could all attend as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to go right to the webinar. Thank you again for coming. I'm going to go on my share my screen and go right into this. Okay. And we'll go on slideshow, and we'll get started. Okay, here we are. This is my opening slide. I wanted to thank you for coming. And are you ready for a life-changing event? Would you like to learn faster? Say yes. And would you like to become more productive? Say yes. And how would you like to have more time to do the things you love? Say yes. And that's a big one. A lot of us, particularly people that are in business, often work around the clock and they have no time for life. So you're going to have fun today as I show you how to increase your reading speed and improve your comprehension and develop a laser-sharp memory, overcome writer's block, and much more. And if you've seen this before, it'll be a good reinforcement of some of the skills you already have. You can never see this too many times. It always helps me, and I know how to teach this. So we'll have some fun as we get started. I actually helped launch the Comedy Central Network. I was Jon Stewart's first guest on TV, and I worked with Dennis Leary, the comedian. He was their linchpin in the beginning, and he had a show, and I was on 7 out of the first 14 shows along with Richard Belzer. So I do comedy, and we'll have some fun. Make sure you take notes. It's very important to take notes because you're going to remember what you learned today and share it with people you care about, especially youngsters, students. A lot of them are struggling, and everything I'm teaching you that you can use in the workplace, they can use in the classroom. I also have a couple of free gifts for you for coming today. The first one is now, and the last one will be at the very end. It's a big one, so make sure you stay to the end. I'm going to give you the opportunity to set up a private appointment with me to see what your learning needs are and if there's anything we can do to help you, and that'll be free. So the first gift is go to www.frompeartree.com. I work for Pear Tree Properties, LLC. So you go to www.frompeartree.com/newsletter, and you'll get a free learning tip sent to your email every week, and there's no charge for that. So that's something you're probably going to want to write down. And feel free to share this with as many people as you know. I think most of us would agree there isn't a problem. There's too many smart people in the world making fantastic decisions. I'd like to think if people have better information and are able to connect the dots better and understand more, we can help make a change in the way the world is, one person at a time, starting with you. Here's an example of someone I've already helped. This is Micah Stanley. And he looks like a little boy, but he actually passed the bar in California at 19. That's the picture of him after he became an attorney. Was it a fluke? Well, his 22-year-old brother is also an attorney and a flight instructor. His 15-year-old sister is in her first year of law school, and she's slated to become the youngest graduate and attorney to pass the bar in the history of California. And they have a tough bar exam. And his brother is 17 years old, and he's currently a second-year law student, and he's slated to become the youngest ever attorney. Of course, he'll be the youngest now, and then his sister will take over afterwards. So the whole Stanley family have been trained by me, and each of them has done so remarkably well. I'm so proud of them, and it makes me feel good knowing that the skills that I have are helping other people. What I do, sometimes it's sort of like a sideshow, and I enjoy doing it, but more important to me is seeing other people do it. That changes the way things are being done in the world. Just one person doing it doesn't change anything. Because I unlocked the secret, the super fast learning, and I struggled just like you with books and magazines and mail and journals till I figured out how to read and learn super fast. It started in Brooklyn. It's a place where people are known for good diction and keen intellects, and I'm no exception. I grew up in the borough of Brooklyn, had lots of gangs, very, very dangerous. I was assaulted maybe 100 times growing up. I was beaten with bats. I had knives to my throat at least twice. My dad was pistol whipped. It was a really dangerous place. And I found one safe haven, the library. And that was an interesting library. It was actually across the street from a Dutch cemetery that was founded in like the 1500s. So it's one of the oldest areas in the U.S. Remember, the U.S. started in 1492. So here's a cemetery going back to the 1600s. And library was there. And I discovered at a very early age, gang kids don't go to libraries. You could be in a bookstore or a library. It's always like safe territory. It's like vampires in churches. They don't go there. So I read well, and I read a lot. By the time I was in 6th grade, I had college reading. I started reading books on mythology when I was 7, books on relativity theory when I was 8. I was actually lecturing on astronomy when I was 7. So I didn't have much of a childhood, but it ended up helping other people because I actually got up to 3,000 words a minute before I learned to read fast, which is 15 times faster than normal. When I did go to college, I went to the State University of New York, Binghamton. It's considered one of the top 10 public universities in the country. I was very fortunate. I majored in biology. In my junior year, I got interested in the brain and learning and thinking. And I said to the dean, I want to do 2 majors, bio and psych. He looked at me and said, you can't. You only have 1 year of college left. And frankly, you'd have to do a 4-year psych program in 1 year. You haven't had any courses yet. You have to take 6 science courses at the same time, and you're not smart enough. And that's when it hit me. They don't teach learning in school. They tell you what to learn, why to learn, what will happen when you don't learn, but not why you can hear a song on the radio for just a few seconds and sing it perfectly the rest of your life. I thought there had to be a way to learn things that matter, the way we learn song lyrics and some other things, and turns out there was. And as a result, I did do a 4-year psych program in a year. I even got an 800 on the graduate record exam, which is the SAT for graduate school in biology, which put me in the 99th percentile. I memorized in 3 nights books like cytology, cell physiology, biochemistry, genetics, plant systematics. Not the lightest reading. So when people sometimes say to me, okay, you read fast, but do you learn anything? I got 4 questions wrong out of about 300, and these were tough questions. So I'm going to say, yes, I learned, and so did my students. I went on to create an infomercial in the mid-90s for a company called Nightingale Conant, and it made $65 million. I didn't make $65 million, but the program did, and I was very proud of that. And we tested it to make sure it actually worked. We hired a company called Strategic Services, and they did a double-blind efficacy study. That meant I couldn't even be in Chicago when the test was being run, let alone in the room. They didn't even want me in the city. So that my personality wouldn't prejudice people for or against it. Sometimes if you like someone, you'll say nice things, but if you didn't meet them, you really didn't have any relationship. They gave them a test called the Nelson-Denny, which is a standardized reading comprehension and speed test. There was an A and a B test. And to make sure the B test wasn't easier, so everyone got quicker, 50 people did A and B and 50 people did B and A. So we could see if they actually sped up or if it was the test. And everyone at least doubled to quadrupled with no loss of comprehension. So it did work. I've been on over 100 shows, and I'm never sure if this will show in your viewer, but I'll put it on and I'll tell you what I'm looking at if you don't see it. What you're looking at is a picture of me on the Sony e-reader commercial. And I was there with Justin Timberlake and Peyton Manning, and that was really exciting. I also helped read the healthcare bill on Cavuto in 50 minutes. So I've done a lot of shows, over 1,100 shows. And while you're watching the program today, think about how it can help you, how it can help you and your family succeed. And let's go right into the problem and the solution. The first thing I'd like to look at is information overload. Do you know more is printed in a week than in all human history through the year 1800? That's a fact. Every 6 months, information doubles. No wonder you find yourself overwhelmed by what you need to know. All that information is now accessible online. So why do we read so slowly? Why is reading the road at 70 miles an hour, which is how fast people are driving where I live, at least it's supposed to, no one drives that slowly, easier than reading a book at 200 words a minute? And that's actually the mode. That's how fast most people read. So we're multitasking when we ride in a car. We're processing data in 4 directions: front, back, left, right, all at the same time. While we're doing that, we're watching the road, we're watching the gauges, we're looking at signs, we're following directions, and we're bored. So we turn on the radio, we talk to our friends, and we get on the phone. And lots of people do everything I just described at the same time. They're still bored. Reading's just one direction. The book is right in front of you. But driving a car and talking on the cell phone is easier. Why? The answer to that question holds the secret to super fast reading. You need to understand the brain and how it processes text. We begin reading one letter at a time, D-O-G. Now, where I grew up in Brooklyn, we pronounce this word properly. It's dog, dog. In Dallas, where I currently live, it's a dog. But of course, the correct pronunciation is dog. The interesting thing is, whether it's a dog or a dog, you started reading letters one at a time, D-O-G. And then something wonderful happens. Brain doesn't see the letters. It sees the word dog. In the same way you look at the word hot. You can see 3 letters, or you can see the word hot. But here's where it starts getting interesting. Put the word hot in front of the word dog, and it's neither hot nor a dog, unless you use a literal translation. And most of us probably wouldn't eat that hot dog, even with ketchup and sauerkraut. So what's going on? When we're in a car, we see everything as a movie. It's very, very visual. In a book, we read one word at a time. If you think about it, we actually don't really read. When we read, if you could look inside your head, there's someone talking to you. In the back of your head is an imaginary little person. And this little person looks out of your eyes at the book, sees the book, and reads it aloud, one word at a time. So our reading speed is often limited to how fast the imaginary person can read aloud, one word at a time. So we're actually using our eyes to hear a book, and that's what slows you down. Fortunately, there's an easy solution. What I'm going to teach you today is how to train this little person to see a movie in a book and only talk on things that matter. And before I show you the secret sauce, I want to give you some important instructions, so make sure you pay close attention. After today, go to a book you've read. I want to make sure the only thing that might confuse you is how fast you're reading and not what you're reading. If the book would confuse you reading it at your normal speed, it's a bad book. If you totally understand everything, then the only thing that might confuse you is how fast you're reading. That's a good book. Get a timer. Some of you have smartphones or you have a watch or you even use an egg timer, or put a cup of coffee in the microwave for a minute. And go to the first page of the first chapter of your book and time yourself for a minute and just read the way you read, normal way. At the end of the minute, take a pencil, put a little mark in the margin where you finish so you can see how fast you read now. Now I'm going to show you how to speed up. So make sure before you do what I'm about to teach you, you assess your current speed to see how much quicker you're reading after you try what I'm going to show you now, the secret sauce. This is actually the first step in my full reading program, and it works. It's very powerful. You're going to use your left hand and move the left hand from the left to the right margin all the way across, and imagine your eyes following your hand all the way across, one line at a time, and not down the middle. Now, what I'd like you to do is go to the second chapter of your book after you've tested yourself later, and for a minute to 5 minutes, take your left hand and go one line at a time. And here's the trick. Keep going faster till you don't know what you're reading, so you actually find your ceiling. When you don't know what you're reading, slow down just enough so your comprehension comes back. And then for about 1 to 5 minutes, take your left hand, go one line at a time, as fast as you can comprehend. And after you're done, go back to the first chapter, the first page, where you've initially assessed how fast you read. This time yourself again for 1 minute, but use your left hand. You may say, why my left hand? Because you're going to turn pages with your right hand, because the pages turn from right to left. So you only have one hand left, which is the left hand, and you're going to go as fast as you can for 1 minute. And you'll be amazed. You're going to see yourself go 10, 15, maybe even 20% further than you did on the first go around when you tested yourself. When you reach that little tick mark, that it was your fastest speed, your normal speed before, you're going to just go flying past it. And you're going to be, oh my God, look how fast I'm going. It's that simple. And this is actually the first step. Now it'll go 100, 200, 300% faster. It takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And we don't have 2.5 hours right now. So we'll talk more about that later. How can you use this? Imagine cutting study time in half, becoming more productive, or finishing required reading in a few nights instead of books week after week. Have more free time, becoming more productive and profitable. I had a student, her name was Jamie Hoxley. She was a gorgeous young lady. She was actually a model. And she was one of the students in a school I owned. And Jamie went to TCU. That was Texas Christian University. She graduated, I think, at 19 with the highest LSAT in the school. And she told me that when she was in university on Fridays, she would get all her reading and reports done, all of them. And then everyone else she knew would work the whole weekend just to do a report. And she said, I felt really bad for them, but I spent the weekend having fun because I was a kid and I thought I deserved it. Actually, Jamie did deserve it. She went to law school and became an assistant to a federal judge in Washington when she graduated. What parent's going to be upset if their kids are running A+ averages and get the highest LSAT in the school and get all their work done on Friday? Imagine doing it on the job like that, having more time for your family. That's what this is really about. Here's one of my other students, Stephen. He graduated university at 16 with a 4.0 with a degree in economics. He went for his master's in math at 18, graduated at 19 with a 3.97. I was so proud of him. I got a funny story. He got 1B in his final year of school. 1B, all A's for the entire time he went to university. 1B, and like in a super advanced math course that like 10 people in the world understood. And he was upset that his mother would be angry. I said, Stephen, you got to be in a course that like 10 people in the whole world understand. I think your mom will deal with 1B and all the time you went to college. That was his big concern. What about comprehension? I think it's far more important than speed. And when I developed this, I actually did it for me to be able to do 6 science courses. Comprehension was much more important than speed. The secret to comprehension is a word called schema. A schema is a big word because I like to use big words in college, and that's where I learned it. Schema is your map. It's what you know already. So if you read a book and it says a woman wore a red dress, you don't go, wait, what's a dress? What's a woman? What's wearing? You know what those words mean, so you understand them. If I said, look at the Agilis Phoenicius, you'd go, what's that? Because it's not in your map, and it would confuse you. I've created a page with no schema. Now, the words are simple, but the schema is deliberately taken out. Watch how confusing it is, even though it should be simple. And then on the next page, I do it again with a title that has schema. And watch how instantly everything makes sense. This is the best way to show you how schema works, by showing you what happens when it isn't there and nothing's working. This is an easy thing to do. Many people are able to do this at an early age. Careful not to rush, or you may have a serious problem. You can learn it by yourself, but probably want someone to help you. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now because I haven't given you any schema. Watch what happens with the title. Bike riding. Bike riding. This is an easy thing to do. Many people are able to do this at an early age. Be careful not to rush, or you may have a serious problem. Learn it by yourself, but probably want someone to help you. Now it makes total sense. Why? It has schema. The words bike riding are the golden ticket. Everything on the page made sense when you saw it. When you're reading, when you know where the schema is and how to find it, even at super fast speed, it's the golden ticket that makes the confusing words make sense. Does that make sense? Do you see how easy it is to read quickly with an understanding of how schema works? In fact, that's one of the big differences between what I do and what was done in the past. Speed reading used to be taught like a mechanical skill. You did all kinds of rubbing drills, got quicker, and as soon as you found something you didn't know and slowed down, you lost your speed because you weren't doing the rubbing drills. So people really didn't like speed reading because it didn't last. I found a way to use schema in the brain so you can slow down when you need to and speed up when you want to. So you actually can slow down for something confusing and not making sense. Lots of new words or ideas that you don't know. And not lose your speed as a result. No one's been able to do that before. Here's the question if you're in business. What are you doing to make your products and services easy to comprehend? You ever bought something and the instructions were so cerebral, you're like, send it back. This is too hard. I don't have time to learn this. You never, ever, ever want that to happen with something you make. You want to make sure that whatever you're giving people or telling them is on their map. Not your map. You already know how the thing works. On their map. They have a blank page. They have no idea what they're doing. So a smart person makes their products and services schematically meaningful to their clients and prospects. And what are you doing right now to make that happen? See, that's the kind of stuff I help people with. Here's a student, Justin. Sometimes I'm asked, is everybody you teach a genius? Justin was a C student. But you take a C student and give them A+ skills, and what happens? They finish high school at 15. Gets his 2-year degree at 17 and his BA at 19 and a master's in English at 21. Justin became an English professor at 22. How many 22-year-old professors have you met? He's one of the only ones I've met, and I was so proud of what he did. He also is a published author. He's finishing up his doctorate. What if I told you all you need to learn anything, it's 5 things? I'd be telling you the truth. Would you like to know what they are? I'll tell you what they are, and then I'll tell you how to use them right afterwards. How's that? You want to learn the words, vocabulary, the names, statistics and formula, main ideas, and the answers to questions. Those are the 5 things. Let's look at them one at a time. Vocabulary. Did you know 85% of learning anything is learning the words? So the question is, what words? These words look different. The writer did something to draw your attention. They may be in italic, bolded, underlined. They could be in a table or in a color or a strange font. They don't look like the rest of the words for a reason. The writer wants you to see them, and they want it to pop off the page and look different. Those are the words you need to learn. The second thing you want to learn are the names, who's in your book, and what did they do. Who's in your book and what did they do? Here's a little tip. Don't learn the names you know, learn the names you need to know. Too many people waste time learning what they know instead of what they need to know. And they call it studying. So when you ask someone, did you study? They say, yeah, 5 hours and I read 400 pages. That doesn't mean anything. I did a graduate course in educational psychology. I read the 400-page book in 7 hours, 4 times. The test was 6 hours long. It was an AP test. I finished in 50 minutes and got a B+. No, I didn't get an A. I got a B+. But I only spent 7 hours and 50 minutes to get 4 graduate credits for $65. Or I could have gone to school for 5 months, spent $5,000 and lost hundreds of hours. I could live with a B+ when all I spent was 7 hours learning the stuff. So you don't learn the names you know already. You look for what you need to know. Studying isn't learning what you know. It's learning what you need to know. Don't waste time learning what's easy and familiar. Focus on what's more challenging and necessary, and you'll get a lot more accomplished with your limited time. Statistics and formula. Any number, date, statistical formula needs to be learned. They're not decorative. They're there for a reason. Here's a little trick with difficult formulas. The first step of learning anything that's difficult, that's a formula, is look at it as a recipe. What's the first step and why do I need to do it? And what's the second step and why do I need to do it? And then go back and say, this is the first step and this is why I need to do it. And this is the second step. So you're learning the recipe. And the second thing you always want to do, probably even before you learn the recipe, is if I did understand this formula, what would I be able to do with it? When you understand why something's important and how it can provide you with value and use, you're going to be able to be more motivated to learn it, especially if it takes a little effort. So that's it. That's statistics and formula. The next thing is main ideas. What does that mean? If you look at most nonfiction books, you're looking for the 5 main ideas in each section and subsection, each heading and subheading. What are the 5 most important things that they cover in each of these sections? And the last thing you absolutely want to learn are the questions and answers. Problem is, the questions are usually at the end. So most people get to the end. If this sounds like you read 40, 50, 60 pages, you get to the end, there's 20 questions, and you don't know any of the answers. You have to go back and find them. What would happen if you read the questions first? So you knew what was important and what you were going to look for before you even started looking. Now, when you saw something important, you'd know you needed to know it and you'd pay more attention. So you wouldn't have to read it a second time to find the answers. You could cut your time in half. Simple. Simple solutions to difficult problems is what I'm about. Otherwise, you're just creating a new problem. My students, I gave them a 30-chapter book in lifelong developmental psychology. Now, that's a sophomore course at university. And my students at the time were 11 to 15 years old. Remember, this is a sophomore college course. In 1 week, 15 out of the 18 students passed the CLEP, which is an advanced placement test. So 15 youngsters from 11 to 15 were able to do sophomore college psych book in 1 week and pass the advanced placement test. That's how powerful what I just showed you is. And it can be used not only in school, but in work, new laws, rules, regulations, new strategies, things that everybody needs to know. Now you know how to learn it. You know what you're looking for. That was a big problem. People didn't know what to look for. They had no idea what was important. Wasted time. Now, this is the most important skill of all. And I'm going to go back into the screen so you could see me when I teach this, because this particular skill I want to show you. Okay, let's see. Go back to my screen. Stop. Here's the scary man. Hide the children. I'm going to show you now the single most important skill that determines your success in life, and it's called emotional intelligence. Have you ever taken an exam or gone to a meeting, got nervous? What did it do to your performance? Here's a good example. You study how to do well on an SAT. You have test anxiety and you can't remember your name. Even though you know what to do, you can't remember. Or you go for a driving test. After you learn to drive and you fail the test, not because you don't know how to drive, but because you get nervous taking tests. Happens every day. So I'm going to show you now how to change your emotional state. You need you to stand up. This is that. I can't stand. You won't see me. I'll just see my navel. So stand up. And I'm going to show you an important skill that's going to help you be more successful. Now, we know the left side of the brain controls the right, and the right side controls the left. So I want you to take your left hand and touch your right shoulder, your right hand and touch your left, alternately. Sort of like the Macarena without music. Now, do this again, but touch your left hand to your right knee and your right hand to your left knee. And you'll notice if you're standing, you have to think a little bit to do this, because both sides of your brain are active at the same time. Now make a fist with your right hand, your thumb and your fist, and say this like you mean it. I feel great. Yes. Say it like you mean it. I feel great. Yes. You can't fool your brain. You have to create the passion. It's important. Now we're going to do 3 sets of these, and when I'm done, I'll show you how to use this skill to create unlimited energy. Starting with shoulder taps. Go at my speed. Left to right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. Second time, we're going to go a little quicker. So stay with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. This time I want you to go full throttle, all out, as fast as you can, starting with shoulder taps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. Put a smile on your face. Look up, sit down, and feel wonderful. Feel great. Let me tell you what you learned. Do you know what happens when you do this 3 times? Nothing. But you want something. The latest studies reveal that to create a new habit takes 2 months. So what I'd like you to do is that drill we just did. Slow, medium, fast. Once a day, every day for 3 months. Now here's what you're doing. Remember Pavlov? Rang a bell, fed a dog. Rang a bell, fed a dog. Rang a bell, the dog drooled. You don't want to drool, but you do want more energy. What you've done is you stimulated one side and then the other, and then both at the same time, but you also went quicker and quicker. So your breathing changed. You brought in more oxygen. You became more alert. And every time you felt more alert, what did you do? You went, I feel great, yes. This is your bell. You don't want to be in a business meeting or in a college class and go like this. You'll look a little weird. But after a couple of months doing this, if you're in an important meeting and you go, I feel great, yes, and you say it to yourself, this will trigger the state. If you're in a long meeting or a class, you could trigger the state. Wake up. Maybe you're driving home in traffic and it's late at night. You can trigger the state. So we can create states that can help us be successful and then use those states when we need them. That's emotional intelligence. I'm going to go back now to the slides and we'll continue where we left off. I just got to go here. And we did the emotional intelligence. Now here's the question. What emotional states do you need to create and eliminate for success? Think about what's holding you back from being a success and what do you need to have to be successful. And this doesn't just apply to you. If you're a business, what states do your clients and prospects need to have to use your products and services successfully? And what states might be holding them back? And what are you doing to create the states they need and eliminate the states that are holding them back? A lot of the frustration you might experience from people who don't like products and services is because they were in the wrong state. It isn't that you didn't give them good information. They didn't use it the right way because they were nervous or frightened or in a negative state. Think about that. Think about how many times it's happened to you. So that's the questions. What are you doing to create the states that they need? And what are you doing to get rid of the states that are holding them back? And again, I'll be available at the end. I'll give you my an appointment link. If you have situations like this going on in your business, let me talk to you and see what we can do to help. And it's free. Overcoming writer's block. This is a big one. Have you ever tried to write something really important? Maybe it was copy for your business or a report, and you just couldn't think of what to say. Your brain went dead. Getting into flow is mission critical, and there's two things holding you back, and I'll show you both of them. The first thing is the normal way we communicate is by speaking. You don't go to a 5-week-old baby and say, "Talk, damn it. Do you want a bottle or a diaper? I'm tired of having to figure it out." We know that when they reach a certain age, they'll talk. The problem is when we're writing, we're not using our mouth, we're using our hands. So we're creating symbols that represent the sounds of spoken words. And there's inertia. It's hard to get started. You're sitting there at a blank screen, you don't know what to do. But once you do figure it out, keeping it going is easy, as evidenced by you're writing a report, the phone rings, and you're talking on the phone while you're writing. No problem. Couldn't get started, but keeping it going was easy. That's one problem. The second problem is a conflict between the left and the right brain. The left brain is your editor, your spell checker, the style checker. It wants everything perfect. It's your editor. Your right brain doesn't care about spelling and grammar, it just wants to get the story done. How often has this happened to you? You write 10, 15, 20 lines, you look at it and say, "Did I write that?" And you hit the delete key. And you just keep writing and deleting because nothing you do is good enough. You're seeing a conflict between your left brain, which is your editor that wants perfection, and your right brain that just wants to get done. The solution is simple. Don't edit and write at the same time. You alternate it. And I'm going to give you a couple of actual practical strategies that come from my writing program now to get you started. So I'll actually give you something you can use. Remember, don't write and edit at the same time. One of the ways to turn on creative flow is use somebody else for inspiration. I actually learned this from an interview I read in a magazine with Paul McCartney. I was in Guinness in 1990 as the fastest reader in the world. No one's ever replaced it. Paul was in as the most prolific songwriter in the world. I think he had a better gig. He's a billionaire. He's made $1 billion with his skills. So I've done well, but not $1 billion worth. So maybe it would have been better to be Paul. But anyway, how did he do it? He never started with a new song from scratch. He listened to someone else's song. Then he changed some notes, chords, and words. And he changed some notes, chords, and words. And some notes, chords, and words. You know what happened eventually? Got a new song. It's that simple. Here are 3 ways you could do this when writing. Find a book that you like the way it was put together, the structure, the organization of the book. It's perfect. It's exactly what you want. And copy 2 or 3 chapters so you learn how that structure is working. Then delete what you copied and start writing your material using the same format. So it's new material, but an old format that works. So you're basically using their structure. That's one way to get inspired. Second thing is you like the way they write. Somebody's got a writing style that blows you away. It's brilliant. Copy 3 or 4 chapters to learn their writing style. Then delete what you copied and start writing your material, which is different, but continue using the same writing style you were using. And that's a second way to use other people for inspiration. And there's a third way. You could copy patterns on your topic and rewrite it like Paul did. You take someone else's thing and you completely rewrite it. And there's actually a way to do this on autopilot, and I'm going to show it to you now. Let me go into my Hangout. Give me a second. I'm going to, let's see. And I'm going to stop that for a second. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to share my whole screen. Okay, sharing the whole screen. And this time I'm going to go into a program called The Best Spinner. Take a second. It'll open up, and that's what I'm going to show you. You're kind of seeing a kaleidoscope effect till that program opens up. It takes a moment. Okay, it's going to open up in a second. The program is called The Best Spinner. I'm going to log in, and then this crazy screen will go away. It's loading my synonyms. So I'm not selling this program. I'm just showing you how it works. So this is a program called The Best Spinner. Now the trick is you get your article. Let's say your competition has a website that's completely crushing it, or an ebook or a brochure, and you say, I wish I had that. Or someone wrote a brilliant report and you wish you wrote it. Here's what you do. You take the report, the web copy, whatever it is, and you write it out, but you write it out in TXT format. When you go into Word and you save the document, one of the things you can save it as is TXT format. I'll write that down. It's star.txt. It's a choice. The reason is TXT format, which is what Notepad does, has no format. And the formatting codes, although they're invisible, they affect this. So I'm going to write a title, How to Read and Learn Anything Quickly and Easily. You can also type it out here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify my synonyms. I'm going to pick everyone's favorites just to get it going, get the best synonyms in place. And then I'm going to go in here to a spun article. Watch what happens. How to study and study anything speedily and easily. Click. Ways to read and study anything speedily and easily. How you can read and learn something promptly and easily. You notice what's happening? It's rewriting it. How you can study and understand anything quickly and easily. So imagine now I had a 5,000 word article or website or anything at all. I can put it in here and spin it, and it'll rewrite it and give me a completely new copy. Isn't that cool? But let me stop sharing for a second. I'll talk to you. Never use the spun copy. Never. For one thing, some of the words don't make sense. You saw that. Some of them are contextually not perfect. I don't use the spun copy. What I do is I copy and paste the spun copy, and then I rewrite it. I put in new paragraphs, I take paragraphs out. I put in new examples, I take examples out. I put in some new idea. What Paul did, change some notes, change some chords, change some words, change some paragraphs, change some sentences, change some words. You keep doing it. When you're done, the spun copy's all gone, and what's left is a brand new article, brand new marketing copy. But you based it on something that was already working. So you're not starting with a blank screen and you're going right into reworking it. It's super fast, very efficient. You get a lot more done. So that's a really, really powerful strategy. Let's get back to this, to the PowerPoint. I wanted to make sure you saw this. So it took a few minutes to do it. Okay, let's continue. Showed you the best spinner. I want to show you to explode creativity now. How to use your imagination, unlock creativity. The superpower for creativity is in your unconscious brain, not your conscious. Your conscious can only do about 7 things at a time. Your unconscious has no limits. So I speed read 10 books, takes a couple of hours. Now I have the data. I don't know which data I need, but I know that the data I need is in those books. And this is the key. I ask an emotionally significant question. What does that mean? If you ask me, do I need a root canal? And I said, you need 12 root canals. How would you feel? Terrible. If you ask me, did I win the lottery? And I say, you won $65 million. How would you feel? Wonderful. How should you feel if the answer to your question is a yes? Do you feel good or bad? And is good or bad a yes? Then you know what your unconscious is telling you, because the unconscious doesn't have words. It uses feelings and pictures and dreams. So we're using feelings, and we learn to feel the answer. Now, you'll make a lot of mistakes. But as you learn to do this, the parts of your brain you're linking, the conscious and unconscious, will begin to instinctively work together. So you'll be able to connect dots that were always hard to connect in the past and will become simple in the future. How can you use this strategy to create unlimited products and services, right? Speed math. That's almost a dirty word. Math is a 4-letter word. Everyone's like, oh, math, I can't do it. I'm going to make you a math genius in a minute. Here's a problem, 103 times 107. What if I told you you could do that in your head in 3 seconds? You can when you know the secret, and you will know the secret if you just watch. How far from 100 is 103? 3. How far from 100 is 107? 7. You write it down or you can envision it. And you multiply the differences. 3 times 7, 21. How hard was that? Pretty simple. That's actually the last part of your answer. The first part's even easier. You add diagonally. What's 107 and 3? 110. What's 103 and 7? 110. Whichever way you add, top left, bottom right, bottom left, top right, whichever way you go, you get the same answer. So you pick whichever way is easier. So you have 110, 21. 103 times 107 is 11,021. How much math did you just do? That's speed math. That's how powerful it is. One more powerful topic to share, memory. Doesn't matter how well you learn if you don't remember it, right? So I'm going to make you a memory genius. And please go full out with this. Do this with me. It's not just a drill. It's a tool. And I'll show you how to use the tool when you're done. I'm going to give you 10 things to remember. Pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. And if you're like most normal people, you don't know the whole list yet. But you will in just a couple of minutes' time. What was number one? We're going to use something we know already. The Greeks discovered the fastest way to learn is take something you know and link it to something you need to know. You can count to 10, right? So we're going to use the numbers from 1 to 10 to peg the 10 objects. First object is a 1. A 1 looks like a pole, a big, tall 1. So when I say 1 and do this, you say pole. Ready? 1. Say pole. Perfect. 2. How many shoes do you wear? 2. So 2 is shoes. 1 is pole. Fantastic. 3. Tricycle. How many wheels on a tricycle? 3. So what's 3? Tricycle. 2. Shoes. 1. Pole. Fantastic. Car. How many tires on a car? 4. So what's 4? Car. What's 2? I jumped. 2 is shoes. 1. Pole. 3. Tricycle. You're not memorizing. You're associating. It's a different kind of memory. 5 is glove. How many fingers are in a glove? 5 fingers in a glove. So 5 is glove. What was 3? Tricycle. And 1? Pole. Amazing. You're getting smarter already. 6 gun. How many bullets in a 6 gun? 6. And they love them in Texas where I live. So 6 is a gun. What was 4? Car. And 2? Shoes. Fantastic. 7's lucky in dice. So 7 is dice. What's 7? Dice. What was 5? Glove. 3? Tricycle. 1? Pole. Almost done. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate. 8 skate. What's 8? Skate. What did they love in Texas? 6? Gun. 4? Car. 2? Shoes. You're almost done. 2 more. How many lives does a cat have? 9. So 9 is cat. 7 was lucky in dice. 5. Glove. 3. Tricycle. 1. Pole. Last one. How many bowling pins in an alley? 10 bowling pins. Let's see how smart you are now. Ready? 1. Pole. 2. Shoes. 3. Tricycle. 4. Car. 5. Glove. 6. Gun. 7. Dice. 8. Skate. 9. Cat. 10. Bowling pins. And how does it make you feel? Great. Congratulations. Give yourself a big hand. Now let's see how to use this. Imagine you're learning geometry. You have to remember the value of pi, the constant used to measure the Circumference and area of a circle is 3.14. No one remembers it because it's weird. 3 is a tricycle, 1 is a pole, 4 is a car. Make a movie. Tricycle hits a pole on a car. Again, a tricycle hits a pole on a car. See it. A tricycle, what number? 3. Hits a pole, what number? 1. On a car, what number? 4. 3, 1, 4. You just learned how to remember numbers. Numbers at work, numbers at school. Fantastic. You're doing great. You're learning to peg. This is Brad. He learned how to do Chinese in 3 weeks. And he also finished college in 6 months. And this is Gary. He uses it at work so his competition can't keep up. These are kids I taught. They actually made $93,000 in their first year of business for Downs Research and won the Silver Pyramid as the best not-for-profit business in America. And the oldest student was 15, the youngest was 11. $93,000 using what I just taught you. What are you doing to make your products and services easy to remember and recall? Think about that. Question: do you wake up each day wanting to know less? Do you want to make less money every day and work harder for it? Do you want to get lower grades and study harder to get them? Of course not. This is an information-driven world where what you learn determines your success. The more you know, the greater your opportunities. So think about that. Knowing more doesn't guarantee success, but knowing less guarantees failure. So to get a free learning assessment, you just go to frompeartree.com/appointment. I'll give you a link where you can do that in a second, and then I'll show you some more important things that you need to know. Let me stop. Go back to program. And first thing is for free learning opportunity. So if you click on this link I'm showing you, you can get a free learning consultation to see how I might be able to help you with the learning problems in your business. The second thing I would like to show you is how to double your reading rate. How to double your reading rate. So let's go there. Let's move the one you got and go in here. We'll go back to the slides. Take a second. There we go. Share. And I've actually created a series of tools. The first one I'd like you to look at is reading. It's guaranteed to double your reading rate, to keep you competitive, get higher grades, and make more money. Now, it retails for $297, but I have a very special opportunity. How about I don't charge you until after you double your rate? It's $100 after you double your rate. Does that sound fair? You don't pay until it works. All you need to do is go to frompeartree.com/reading bonus. That's frompeartree.com/reading bonus. And let me see if I can get that to show up on this. It's not, of course, the computer doesn't want to. There it is, W learning rate in a single session. Let's see, doesn't want to go, so we won't worry about it. We'll just go back to the slide. And that's why I have the link right here. Just go to frompeartree.com/reading bonus. You can try the reading program risk-free. Only pay me if it works. How's that? It's $100. Double your reading speed or don't pay anything. And I'll also show you how to remember and learn and everything else. This is Barry Fowler, the founder of Sylvan Learning. He endorsed it. Now, the next thing I want to show you, the last thing, is I have a complete learning system. Reading, writing, show you how to overcome writer's block, get creative, read people like a book so you can complete your projects on time. It retails for $247, but don't worry about that because I have a special price. We have a memory program for names, facts, details, languages, and more. That also retails for $247. And a speed math program for all types of arithmetic. You can get it all. Reading, writing, memory, math, and the DVDs is a bonus. So you get it online instantly, and DVDs is a bonus. Go to frompeartree.com/learning bonus. frompeartree.com/learning bonus. I think I have that in here. Let me make sure. We'll give it a shot. Go into Jam, and I will see if I can. There it goes. Okay. Again, this is not working the right way, which makes total sense to me. Let's see, remove offer, put the offer in, doesn't want to. Here we go. Okay, we'll just go back to the slide and I'll just show it to you. For some reason, the software doesn't want to cooperate, which I'm sure you've seen happen. So you just go to frompeartree.com/learning bonus. So I'm just going to show you a couple of options that I gave you today. You can go to From Pear Tree, www.peartree.com/appointment for a free appointment. Peartree.com, and you could go to Learning Bonus or Peartree.com Reading Bonus. All of those will work. So whatever works best for you, feel free to share this with your friends. I really enjoy doing these programs. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. I'll tell you what, I'll open up, if you have any questions, I'll open up the chat box, put on the chat box. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them. I'll give you a moment. There's actually a minute lag between what I'm doing and what you're seeing. I don't know why there's a minute lag. It just works that way. So if you have a question you'd like to ask, I'll give you a moment to type it out, and then I can answer it for you while you're doing this. And see if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you if you do. Oh, I got the button to work. Reading, writing, memory, and math button. That popped in. That's nice. We'll go back to chat, see if anyone has any questions. I'll do one more pop-up if I can. I'll do the one for the reading. Hopefully it'll work. Never know for sure. There it goes. Let's see. Reading speed. So if you'd like to try that, it's there. I'll give you one more minute to write in any questions. I don't see any, which is always a good sign. I want to thank everybody. I hope you enjoyed the program as much as I did. Please take advantage of some of these opportunities I've given to you today to double your reading speed. Don't pay me until you double. That seems fair. You either succeed or you don't. You only pay for your results. Sign up for a free appointment. Or if you're really ready to go full out, get the full program. You'll be really excited with your results. You know how to reach me. My email is Mr. Reader, MRREADER, Mr. Reader at MSN.com if you have any questions. And you can text me on my cell phone, 214-952-9150. That's my number. I try to help everyone. Most people don't give out their cell phones. I do. I want you to know that when I work with you, I'm the one who works with you, and I'm there to help. So I'm giving you my phone because I know you won't need help. Because if everyone called me, I never have time to work. I'd be on the phone all day. I have thousands and thousands of people. So again, thanks so much for coming. I'll check once more and see if you have any questions. I don't see any. So that's the end of today's broadcast. I'll be doing a number of these, so watch for them. I have another one I'm going to be doing soon, and I think you're going to find it really interesting on the meaning of life. I've read 30,000 books, and I found some answers to questions people ask. And maybe it's something you might be interested in. So till then, this is Howard Berg, the world's fastest reader, wishing you and yours the best of success. Remember to try your risk-free reading trial, get the reading program, or get a free appointment with me. I look forward to seeing you again in the future, and I will send you the video, and feel free to share this with as many people as you'd like. Till then, wishing you and yours the best of success. Take care.